Welcome to the Strategic Project Leader, where we help you leverage strategic project management so you can achieve your goals. Now, here's your host, Alabi.
Hello and welcome. Good morning and welcome to the Strategic Project Leader, where we help you achieve your goals to go further, faster in business and beyond. We help you leverage strategic project management to execute right and get consistent results. I am your host, Alabi, your business and transformational leadership expert. With me tonight, I've got Jay Franzi. Oh gosh, my guest host. He's always here to inspire you. He's also a professional leader and an experienced coach as well. So Jay, how are you today?
I'm doing fabulous, my friend. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing awesome. Thank you. Today is a special day, without a doubt, because we've got a sensational leader with us today. We've got Terry Street. Can we have some drum roll? Quickly. It's going to be fun. And I want to talk a little bit about him because there's so much I've got to say, but I'm going to try and do it in a couple of minutes. Our guest today is Terry. He's been named one of the top 50 project management leaders for 2022. Terry, believes that project leadership and project management is one that is extremely important. And project leaders are the unsung heroes of our time, because without projects, we cannot actually move and progress in anything that we do. He has over 4 decades of experience as a project manager, a leader, a trainer, and he's done this across 42 countries. Jay, 42 countries. Could you believe that?
No, ma'am, I cannot.
Oh my gosh. Terry teaches project strategy at the UCLA Extension Technical Management Program and at MIT Summer Institute.
Nice.
He earned his BS.
Now we're talking.
That's right. He earned his BS in aerospace engineering at Washington and his MBA at Harvard. Let's welcome Terry to an edition of the Strategic Project Leader. Terry, how are you today?
Doing phenomenal. I'm really happy to be on this. I am so impressed by what you have put together here, Strategic Project Leader and Project Intelligence. I think you're making a major contribution to the field. My belief is that project managers, either appointed or accidental, professional or amateur, are the superheroes of our time, because it's through projects that progress is made. So welcome. We got some great people here, I think, from all over the world, from Oman, from Kenya, from England, from Turkey, from Canada, from the US, and maybe we even have a few aliens who are listening. And so we'll make it interesting and productive.
That's right. Can we just see in the comments, can you just kind of let us know where you're actually joining us from? We appreciate you for being here for sure. Before we dive right in, today is going to be informative. It's going to be pretty much jam-packed. I cannot even wait to get it. So first of all, Terry, how did your journey into the world of project management start?
Actually, it began as a sophomore in high school. Our boys service club called Key Club volunteered to cook the fisherman's breakfast, which meant at 4:00 we would be making pancakes and bacon and eggs for all the people on the first day of fishing. Well, as it turned out, all the boys showed up, but the supervisor did not. So we had a long line of fairly angry fishermen who wanted to get out there, and nothing was happening. So I said, I'm going to take charge. Fred, you're in charge of hotcakes. Linda, let's do the bacon. Okay, somebody's got to do the eggs. Let's just scramble them and make it easy. We got a process line. We got an efficiency going. The fishermen started smiling, and that's when I knew, by golly, even though I didn't have my degree, I was in fact a project leader.
That's awesome.
That deserves a round of applause for sure. So when we think about project management, it goes beyond just, having that piece of paper that says I'm a PMP or I'm a Prince 2, whatever it is, but we pretty much are managing projects every single day. Jay, what have you got to say about that, please?
I just think it's awesome. I want to go fishing with you, Terry. This is where epiphanies happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, that's actually great. So when we think about, we've got Washington here. Thank you so much for being here, sir. We appreciate you, Joseph, for being here. Oh, hello. What role does project management skill play in the success of any career?
Well, The higher you go in an organization, the more ambitious you are, the wider your vision, the more projects come into play. And it's through projects that progress happens. Now, there are two types of project managers, what I call the professional project manager. And Fola, you're a good example of that. You have all these certifications behind your name. And there are also professionals who manage projects. They may be engineers, they may be accountants, HR people, virtually any topic. But if you're in professional work, what Peter Drucker calls knowledge work, your work consists of projects. And projects often are intangible. They deal with information, they deal with concepts, they deal with change. And you need to be nimble. You need to have a strategic leadership mindset to pull those off.
Wow, you spoke about having a strategic mindset. Before we even go any further, remember at the end of the show today, you're going to learn 5 secrets to help you crystallize your ideas to achieve success. So we're going to be throwing that in. Terry has already started dropping all the good nuggets already. He's spoken about the fact that you need a strategic mindset. So it doesn't matter if you're a professional project manager, if you want to become a business leader who gets results for your organization, having a strategic mindset is absolutely critical for that. So that's number 1. So how, when you think about developing a strategic mindset, Terry, how can we go about that? What are the steps that we can actually just take? You know, for instance, a mid-level professional who has been told to manage a couple of projects, how can they grow that? How can they, develop that skill set?
I think the major one is to take on bigger challenges, projects that scare you, moving outside of the comfort zone. I have seen some project managers doing the same thing over and over for a 20-year career. There's no growth there. There's no optimization of life potential. But if you position yourself so that you can take risks, maybe they won't all succeed. That's how you grow. I've taken some major career risks in my life, moving outside of my comfort zone, managing a draft presidential campaign, which failed, but still it was a great stretch. So experiment with new things. Move outside your comfort zone. Spend 30% of your reading outside of your mainstream field. It's okay to learn about strategy and project management, but emotional intelligence and communications and those type of self-discovery, because the more you know about yourself, the more you'll be able to lead. I don't think a person has a right to manage other people until they can truly manage themselves.
I love that, Terry. You mentioned reading right there, right? So are you reading anything specific right now or anything that you could turn us on to?
Sure. I have actually a number of books. Atomic Habits is a great one. Do the Hard Things First is a great one. There are several books by Dr. Henry Weisinger on managing pressure and how to put positive pressure on your kids. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this book. It's called Strategic Project Management Made Simple, published by Wiley. This is the 2nd edition. And there are 2 things that make this book unique. One is the word strategic, because most project books and courses and lectures deal with operational things, mathematical equations, stuff you do after the project is in place. It doesn't really talk about the front end, the fuzzy front end, when ideas are still being formulated, when you're putting teams together, when you're working through uncertainty. So my focus and my differentiation is I combine strategic planning with project management, and that intersection is a sweet spot.
That's great. We'll have to put the link to that book in the show notes here tonight. So let's take that a step further. I work in the world of security, and we have operational managers as well as project managers. They work together, and sometimes they get confused. People seem to think that they do the same things. So when we work in the world of operations, I feel as if we're doing the ongoing work after a project manager leaves. But can you go ahead and explain what a project manager's life cycle would be?
Great. Jay, you brought up an important point, and that's the difference between operations and projects. The purpose of a project is to create change of some sort. The purpose of operations is stability. So there can be some intersection and some conflicts at that point. So the project life cycle really begins with understanding what's the big why. What's the problem we're trying to solve, the opportunity we're trying to exploit? And then you can work down strategically and say, what's the cause-effect relationship between what I can do and this big picture goal? For example, if you've seen the movie Field of Dreams, anyone out there saw Field of Dreams?
Yeah, absolutely.
The classic line from Field of Dreams is, you tell me, Jay.
You build it, they will come.
If we build it, they will come. That is a hypothesis. It's our predicted educated guess about cause effect in the world. And that is so important because every project is a set of cause effect relationships and can be diagrammed as such. The other thing, if we build it, they will come. If they come, we can save the farm. 3 levels of hypothesis. And oftentimes we get mixed up in terms of measurement. But if we set it up as if I get all the equipment together and the labor and all that, then I can build a baseball field. That is a deliverable of project management. But project leadership is getting them to come and then saving the farm. So I feature in my book a 4-level strategic hypothesis, to put some consulting words out there. And it's basically cause-effect logic, which is missing from most of the conventional project management tools, approaches, books, courses.
I think that's really awesome. I remember reading the book as well. I'm like, oh my goodness, Terry seems to be like, it seems like I have lived in your world like a couple of centuries ago as well. Because I remember the conversation we had for the first time, like, oh my goodness, I think, in a very, very similar way, the way you place ideas, the way you break it down, the way it ties into everything on the bigger picture as well. So that's definitely awesome. So where exactly, Terry, can a young professional actually start? I know you spoke about, yes, get into strategy.
Yeah.
You said, do work outside of your mainstream piece as well. So what exactly is another secret that has actually helped you with all the achievements you've got? How are you able to move up and, scale your career so quickly?
I think one part of it is the willingness to look ridiculous, to be embarrassed, to screw up, and to learn from that, and take risks that other people tend not to take. And that's certainly part of it. The other thing I would recommend, I know a lot of you have come to this program through LinkedIn, is to get involved in some of the groups, get involved in some of the discussions, create your own little posts, your articles, begin to build a network, a following. That is so important for a lot of reasons. Number one, your network equates to your net worth in some senses, okay? Because it's the connections you have, the people you can call on, the people you can assist. And if you do that over time, you'll be powerful, you'll be effective. I kick myself for all the conferences I've attended, all the people I've met, and I did not keep in touch with them. But these days it is so easy. So please, if you read an article that you like it, share it, get known, make your own posts, create some waves, jump in the water, make some waves. And over time, it will pay off.
I love the fact that you said, make your posts and, just jump right in. I remember when I think about my journey a couple of years ago, about 18 years ago, when I landed my first project management role. I'm like, goodness, how exactly do I do this before I got that? However, I took a couple of steps for me as a professional, right? All the networking pieces, I read a lot and I wanted to learn more and actually be more and do more. However, for someone who is just starting off in their career, Terry, and they also, let's say they're kind of like an engineer. How do they make that pivot? How do they move off into this whole world of project management? How can they leverage that from a totally different discipline? Because I see that you did aerospace engineering, right? So how did you get into this whole, project management piece? How were you able to smoothly transition to get that done?
Well, I guess I'm fairly eclectic in my learning. As a junior in college, I got a great summer internship with Dr. Werner von Braun, who headed the moon program. So he was the director of the NASA Marshall Space Flight Center. So I did some, quote unquote engineering, but I spent most of my time in the library, just reading about program management, project management. And I said, aha, there's something here. But project management is not enough. Okay, project management is what I call the hard skills, the concept, the analytics, the analysis, and so forth. That must be tempered by the soft skills, emotional intelligence. Think about this. Who is the best project manager you've ever worked with? I bet that the answer was not that they had great technical skills, but they cared about you. They helped create a win for you. They were committed. They were open. They acknowledged the mistakes. They supported you, all that stuff. So I have met project managers who have said, if it ain't in the project management body of knowledge, which is about 700 pages, I don't need to know it. Okay, those are the kind of people who are going to be in operations, but not change projects. It's good we have them.
I know. When I think about project management, I really pretty much they create so much evolution. They create a lot of progress as well, and people don't realize the amount of work that a project manager actually gets to do. When I look at them just like an entrepreneur, like a CEO. They come in, they get an idea, they run it from initiation through to plan and execution. They create something. And when you think about business leaders who have been able to move up the ranks, at times they've got a team delivering projects, and they don't understand that these project managers are like pushing so much. They're pretty much going over mountains and hurdles to ensure that the organizations achieve, their return on investments as well. So what exactly will be another one secret as well that you have seen that has helped? I know you spoke about emotional intelligence, strategic mindset now, thinking out of the box. What else can you also think about? What comes to mind as well for you? Did you have like mentors?
I had mentors at a distance. And what I mean by that is I read people who inspired me, who entertained me, who informed me. I reached out and developed relationships with some of them. It is amazing how you can connect with high-level people and ask them for favors. I mean, the internship job I got at NASA, I was one of, I think, 1,300 people who applied. But because I planted some seeds before, and connecting with Dr. Von Braun and so forth, and actually launching some little guppies into inner space, I got noticed. So, you need to blow your own horn to some extent. And I don't mean being braggadocio, but, don't be modest about your accomplishments. Put them out there. I find a lot of people really suffer from low self-esteem or the imposter syndrome, or, I'm just not good enough. I didn't go to the right school. I don't have the right education. I'm the wrong sex. I'm the wrong age, all that kind of stuff. And I've had that, at certain points. There was something that happened to me, if I can tell this brief story. I attended a leadership conference, a boys' leadership conference in high school at a conference center called Asilomar. And there were about 300 boys there. And we had several days of training and workshops. Saturday night, there was a banquet. Every young boy was wearing a white shirt and a tie except me. We didn't have one. Okay, I grew up in I guess you could call it the working poor, 28-foot trailer house, 8 feet wide, less than 300 square feet for 4 people. That wasn't in my consciousness. So for a while, I held that as I am less than. I am not as good enough as other people. And in a way that motivated me. I mean, if you have something to prove, go ahead and prove it. But then I realized, actually, somebody told me later, when I told them this story, they said, wow, that means you're unique. And suddenly I thought, wow, maybe I am. So being able to reframe yourself, creating a heroic identity for yourself, your future self. How is your future self going to be different from today? Write it down in terms of your abilities, in terms of your influence, in terms of your skills, in terms of your interests, in terms of your relationships. Write it down. Don't just think it, but ink it. I'm a big believer on personal strategic planning. In fact, my first 2 books were on that over 40 some years ago. Strategic planning for your career and for your life. A lot of good project managers don't apply these concepts to their most important project of all, which is you.
Now, Terry, I got a question for you here. You mentioned education. It's something we talk about a lot, and you talk about, those who don't have the proper education, or they might think a little less of themselves at times. You actually were able to move on and get some great education. You went to my hometown in Boston. You attended Harvard. Ms. Fuller mentioned at the beginning of the show that you've done some work with MIT and so on. So can you tell us how you think education is important? Do you think it's necessary for one to become a project manager?
Well, certainly, functional education is important. But let's remember, Bill Gates was a Harvard dropout, and a lot of other folks as well. So certainly you need education, but you also need spunk. You need inspiration. You need drive. You need to have a reason. You need to have your own big why. Now, initially, early in your career, you may not know what that is. But if you have this sense that at the end of your life, you want to be able to say, made a difference, as opposed to saying, made it through, right? You'll find your purpose. You'll find your purpose. You'll find a vision. You'll find something that turns you on. There's an old Dutch proverb that says, bloom where you are planted. So just in your own environment, make things happen. I was, one of my first jobs was working for the Secretary of Transportation in Washington, D.C. And I was in a high-level planning position. And we had an office of about 25 people. And the problem was with the coffee pot area. It was always a mess. People didn't always contribute dues, et cetera, et cetera. So I said, by golly, here is a leadership opportunity. I'm going to take over the coffee club. So I put up, posters and put up signs, and, had a rigorous, either you're in or you're out, and we're going to monitor your cup to make sure you're not cheating, et cetera, et cetera. So that got me noticed. It was kind of fun. So I moved on from that to volunteering for task forces and so forth. And I was very successful in connecting and in moving pretty fast, simply because I did things that other people weren't willing to do. So if you're a young project manager, take on the crappy projects, take on the crappy, tasks, and make a difference.
No,
You'll
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, Ms. Fuller, let me ask you a question here. If we take all this information tonight, how can we apply it to our personal lives?
Oh, for me, okay, I'm gonna have a go at that. First of all, just like Terry, I see life like it's like a connected piece, because I see life as a project on its own. Every single aspect of our lives, from our business, our family, our relationships, our kids, everything all come together and create one life. That's what creates success. So when we think about the secrets to becoming a success, it means that you have to, one, as Terry said, create a strategic mindset. And what does that mean? So how do you take your personal life and how does your business, how does it all intersect together? For me, I see it as work-life harmony. I work it all together. I do not create a business separate, my career, my personal life. I have a plan that brings it all together. I see my spouse, for instance, as a stakeholder. I see my kids as stakeholders. We have a communication plan. I know that whatever I do, there's always a consequence. The same way I treat people at work, right? And so I'm intentional about how I communicate. I'm intentional about how I manage my finances. I'm intentional about how every single piece comes together. For me, I say, if it's not scheduled, for instance, it never happens. So I have a schedule that brings my personal life, the work life all together. We talk about it. Even time with my husband, you can laugh about that. We need to make sure that it's scheduled. We want to have date night. We want to do all of those things as well. And we plan it all as one particular piece. Whatever goals that we have, be it in business, be it in our career, be it in our personal life, we work it, and then we come back and we track against that. So whatever the plan is, for instance, we're going to say in the next 6 months, we want to actually have a vacation or buy another investment property. What does that look like? We need $200,000 to put down on that property. Does that mean that we have to put $1,000 a month in a separate account to have that done? How are we going to do it? We pull this money from this particular savings, but we do that consistently and we track against it. So we come back, we talk how we doing against our plan. And this is how we have been able to create pretty much, I'll call that a success in my books. And because for you to truly be successful, it goes beyond just earning 6 figures or 7 figures in your business or in your professional life. Having the life you crave comes from everything coming together, where you are happy at home and you are also happy at work. Terry, I want to hear from you as well. What do you think about that? How do you create and how do you manage life as a project as well?
That's great. I want to sort of expand on that idea. Life indeed is a project. Actually, it's a constellation of many projects. So if you're familiar with project and program management as applies to a personal life, you have projects under different categories. You have financial, you have career, you have health, you have relationships, you have spiritual, you have community, you have fun, et cetera, et cetera. So think of all these as program areas. And at different phases of your life, you have different types of projects under each. Like the first phase of your life, let's say, you were born, right? Your projects are learning to walk, getting weaned, learning to talk, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so you progress over time, different types of projects. You go to school, there's high school projects, there's college, then you get into relationships, and let's say that you get married. Suddenly the family category has a lot more projects under. You have kids, et cetera, et cetera. So it's this evolving portfolio of projects. And the superior person recognizes that they need to have harmony, as you put it. But that means projects in most of those areas, and to be conscious and bring them together in a harmonious way. Fola, you've done a great job of setting up your life in a project-focused way, and everyone can do it. So, don't neglect the important stuff. So what I would ask you is to think about what are 3 program areas in the next 6 months you need to focus on. Is it your health? Is it your finances? Is it your career? Is it your relationships with your kids? Relationships with your spouse? Is it getting more connected with your spirit? What are these? And then projectize it. What's the objective? How do you measure success? What are the assumptions and uncertainties to get there? What are the action steps? And then monitor it. Use the typical project management tools. And my ear just fell off here, so hold on.
Oh, that's good. Well, we're getting into it. So we're looking at the columns and stuff. Okay, keep going, Terry. We're enjoying this.
Okay. Let's see. Starts out, you don't have to have a life purpose or a life mission. But if you do, it's great. In fact, the last chapter of my latest book is on applying project management to your life. And I give some sort of sample purpose phrases and projects under, each of these categories. So, learning and development is an important one as well. I can predict how successful you've been and how successful you will be by asking you, what are the last 5 books that you've read? Okay. And if it's all fan fiction, okay, that's fine. Let's do some serious work. Do something hard. Take on something that is tough. That is the way you will grow. Challenge yourself. Keep setting the bar higher. But when you don't reach the bar, don't dump all over yourself. Say, okay, I'm going to try again. Fola, you talk about failures as learning experiments. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about that.
No, for sure I can, because when I look at life, just like the agile way of managing projects, right? We look at getting bite-sized iterations. You look at what you really want to achieve, and then you go off, you create something, you test it out, and then whatever you create, you actually validate that with your clients and your customer. You come back again and iterate. I remember you, Terry, saying something, say we iterate until it's great. We keep improving on it. The key is winners just never give up. Right. We need to ensure that we get the goal set. That's actually in ink, but everything else can be written in pencil. We can tweak things. We can actually pivot a little bit. The act of continuously learning, the act of, ensuring that you are always evolving, the fact that you understand that the goal is set. However, the process that's going to take me to get there could actually change. The key for you is to ensure that you are making progress and you are validating every single step that you are actually taking to ensure that you are reaching your goal. And as long as it's done in line with achieving, customer goals or customer needs, whatever that's actually said or whatever quality that has been set and put in place from the get-go, whatever the organizational strategic plans, whatever that is, you need to be ensuring that you're tracking towards that goal. But ensuring that you have that experimenting, and I don't really call it failure to what a lot of people actually see it. It's just learning forward. When you see the scientists, right, when they go off and they put some things together, they're just checking, okay, how exactly does this work? Does this go within this environment? How do I tweak this a little bit? They go back, they learn from it, and then they start the process all over again. Even like vaccines, we look at COVID, like when COVID happened, before the vaccine was brought out to the public, they had to experiment. They had to take people to test it out. And that's how we need to see our life, our business, and our career. It's never going to be 100% rosy from the get-go. When you have that project management mindset, you kind of know that, okay, I need to ideate, I need to plan, I need to execute. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to keep improving. I'm going to go back again, and tweak things a little bit, as long as the goal just never changes. It's going to be tough. As Terry said, do the hard stuff. I need to put that on my wall now. So Fola, keep doing the hard stuff. Even when it seems like, it's daring, just keep going. The goal will be achieved as long as we do not actually give up. Terry, what exactly are your lasting thoughts? What are those things? I know you've done great things. I remember your book when you launched the guppies into outer space. Terry did an experiment in his book where he was trying to do eat the fish. I was like, oh my goodness, they went into space. And what are the hard things that you've actually done, and what can people go away today and say, yes, I am going to take this step. I'm going to take action by doing this key things.
Okay. I think one of the hard things that I did is quit a good, well-paying job with strategic planning and the Secretary of Transportation. And I simply said, I'm quitting for health reasons. I got sick of bureaucracy. So I jumped out and I joined a political campaign as a volunteer trying to elect a governor in Virginia, and made some contacts through that. And I sent out a bunch of resumes, and I got a question. Somebody said, can you be in Bangladesh in 3 weeks? And I said, Bangla where?
Bangladesh.
Yeah. So I found myself in Bangladesh teaching a project management methodology called the logical framework, which is really the basis of all my work. It's a simple, sophisticated system that is used extensively around the world for development projects. My contribution is to bring it into mainstream business and technology projects. That's what my book focuses on. Jumping off, hey, trusting in yourself, knowing that you can handle even the worst. Now, as you get more responsibilities, as you get family and stuff like that, you may want to temper the risks a little bit.
You don't go to Bangladesh.
Yeah. Well, Bangladesh was actually kind of cool. I have to tell one story. Okay, this is my Robin Hood story. Now, don't tell the Intercontinental Hotel chain about this. But I had a driver. Actually, he was my tea boy named Wazid Ali. He had one tooth and it was orange. All right. And that's from eating betel nuts. He invited me to his village one night. So I, for a couple of weeks, ordered room service from the Intercontinental Hotel and kept the plates, kept the dishes. So I brought along as a gift to this village a bunch of beautiful plates and forks and spoons and stuff that they'd never seen before. And it was amazing. I was treated like a king by people who virtually had nothing. One of the things that is easy to do for us is to, pardon the term, bitch about stuff, right? Oh, this isn't perfect. Blah, 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 blah. It could be the most minor things. But I have learned by working in developing countries with people who had virtually nothing that they could live with dignity and live with love and respect and care. I think we've become too soft, which is why you want to do hard things. Brian Tracy says, first thing in the morning you should do is eat a live frog. I've tried it. They're really not very delicious unless you cook them. But what that means is do the hard things first, then the rest of the day will flow. There have been times in my life, I will admit it, even recently, when I've let something fester in my mind. It's something I know I should do. I should get back to this person, but my golly, it's been so long now, it's really going to be embarrassing. Just step up and do it. Take action, get things done.
Terry, sir, you are awesome.
And so are you.
I know. It's definitely been great. Yeah, I know. And we're doing our bit to help and support people. And I really want to commend you, Terry, for that, especially. I remember when I reached out to you for the first time, I'm talking about true leaders who are there, who don't actually just walk the talk. Who don't just talk the talk, but actually walk the talk. And that's actually Terry as well. I want to say thank you so much. And I want to just summarize. Terry has spoken about strategic mindset that you need. He spoke about emotional intelligence. He spoke about thinking outside of the box, doing the hard things, getting mentors, stepping out of your comfort zone, taking risk. And that's actually great. And actually add to that, taking calculated risk as well. It's been a great pleasure to have you. I just cannot wait to see what we're going to do together in the year, 10 years and decades from now. For those who are just catching this, this is Strategic Project Leader. We are all about helping you to achieve your goals in business and beyond. I cannot wait to see. There's so much to unpack, and Terry, we definitely have to bring you back, but we've actually reached the top of the hour pretty much, so we have to go. But thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to add just before we leave? I know we're going to have the show notes. You can actually where you can reach Terry. But Terry, where can we reach you?
The best way would probably be in LinkedIn, simply Terry Schmidt. And mention this broadcast that you've listened to me, and I'll send you something special.
Oh, fantastic. You see what I mean? So Terry has just said, so once you just say the SPL podcast, for those who are actually there, Terry has a special gift for everyone. So send Terry your notes on LinkedIn, or I think I've got his website. We can just pull that up as well. It's actually managementpro.com, I think. Fantastic. So you can read Terry right here, managementpro.com. And Terry has a special gift for you. Just let him know that you listen to him on the Strategic Project Leader show, and there's something special for you as well. Thank you so much, Jay, for being here. And where can we also reach you, Jay?
You can find me at jfranzi.com.
I appreciate you all for being here. Once again, thank you so much. And we cannot wait to see you on the next one. For now, bye-bye.